What's going on guys, Dividing here, and today we're back with another MCPE add-on review. This time we're going to be reviewing the Magicraft Spictra version 3. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. We're first going to be talking about the version 3 updates, then we'll head into the main content of the mod. And yeah, hope you enjoy. So the first mob of version 3 is the Spinal Serpent. These guys can be found in swamps. They're really slow on the surface but really fast underwater. Their target gets poisoned once you attack them with a melee weapon, and they also attack you with poison. They also drop venom shards. The next mob we have is the Wraith. This mob spawns in deep overworld caves. They summon ghost fire skulls around the target, and they deal magic area damage after a short time. They will also drop ghost fire embers, and they look pretty cool. I mean, look at their eyes. It's illuminated in the dark. That's pretty cool. Next, we have the Frost Charger. These guys will spawn in cold biomes, and their horns are covered in shards of solid ice. However, these do deal a great damage and they break. However, if the mob is in a cold biome, they will come back. These guys are also tameable with any golden food, as you can see over here, and when you kill them, their horns drop, but I did not want to do that. So go ahead and discover yourself. Next up, we have the Lockets. So these guys spawn in deep overworld caves. When it's too dark, they start to shiver, as you can see over here. But if it's bright enough, they don't shiver, which is a really cool feature. Next, you can tame them with glowberries, and you can even dye them. So over here we have an orange dye, then we have a green dye, and it's pretty cool because you can dye them any type you want. They even have a storage of 27 storage slots, so I think that's a really cool feature. Next up, we have the Lost Witcher, but for some reason it isn't working on my device. It's basically a villager who learned the magic of evocation. You can even trade with him. So the two most important things that you can trade with him is the Dark Amulet and the Blood Sword. There are also other useful trades, as you can see over here. Hopefully it works on your devices, but I don't know, doesn't work on mine. Lastly, we have the last mob for version 3, and it is the Nightmare. This guy is basically another boss. It can be spawned by interacting with an altar in the end. It has a ranged attack where it shoots powerful projectiles that deal area knockback, and a melee attack where it charges at targets at great speed. So make sure you're prepared when fighting this guy, and do not summon this guy with the Ender Dragon because you might not leave alive. Alright, so as for the items of version 3, these are some of the items that have been added in. We'll be going through each one. So let's start off with the Frost Scythe. So let me just get it over here. Now the Frost Scythe. The Frost Scythe is a weapon that will inflict slowness, and it can do a sweep attack that heavily damages the targets in the user's hit range. So if I hit the pigs over here, they should be inflicted with slowness, and you can even sweep attack them. We can try it on the chicken here. It is dead. So it's a pretty cool weapon, it even looks really good. So yeah, that is the Frost Scythe. Next up, we have the Blood Sword. Now before I pick this up, I'm gonna read what it says. When you hold this weapon, one can hear the laughs of the demon possessing it. When attacking non-undead mobs with it, the sword will steal their blood and heal the user for 2 hearts. But when used, the sword will steal the 2 hearts from the user to create a blood slash that damages and weakens all targets in its path. That can be repaired with iron ingots. So let's see if we can hear some crazy stuff. I'm not sure. Do you guys hear crazy stuff? Oh, we got an effect. We have a regeneration effect. Alright, so we get 2 extra hearts, but in return it gets 2 extra hearts from us. Next up, we have our projectile weapons over here, or your ghost fire charges. These throwables will make a magical area damage upon impact, and undead mobs will take less damage from it. So we have your Dark Amulet over here with 3 soul charges. We have your Dark Amulet with 3 fire charges, and we have your Dark Amulet with 3 ghost fire charges. We will still be using pigs and a chicken. What the hell? Where did the chicken come from? That is weird. Anyways, we're gonna be trying it out here. So we have your 3 soul charges. This one uses the 3 soul charges. This is the 3 fire charges. So you get your fire resistance. It's pretty cool. Your ghost fire charges. So let's try here. There you go. And I don't think there's an effect for that. Basically, there are projectiles or throwables where you can throw at mobs. One of the last items added by version 3 is the 2 horns. So we have the ancient golden horn and the echo horn. We're going to be going through the echo horn first. So this echo horn can make supersonic waves that can go through entities and blocks, but is a mid-range weapon. So theoretically, if we go over here and we shoot our echo horn, it basically acts like the warden's attack and it can go through blocks. So that's pretty cool. Right there, as you can see, it's an instant kill for the pigs, and it can even go through blocks, but it is a mid-range weapon. Next up, we have the ancient golden horn. This horn can play an attack tone that gives nearby players strength, or defense tone that gives them resistance but for double the durability. So use this one wisely, and it's raining, but this is how it should look like. And that was pretty cool. We have our effect over here, we have our strength, and yeah, use this wisely. Now the last item version 3 adds in is your ancient golden armor set. So basically the ancient golden armor set gives you 2 hearts when fully worn, once you have the full set. You also have the defense of a diamond set, and you have half the knockback of your netherite armor. So I think it's a really good investment to have these items. As you can see, I have 2 extra hearts. Anyways, that's basically it for version 3. Let's now head into the main content of the mod. So for the other mobs in the mod, we have the Inferno. The Inferno comes from a normal blaze, which has a 2% chance of turning into an Inferno. As for its attacks, it has 2 attacks. It has the blocked mode, so this is when it charges, and it has the unblocked mode, and this is when it's shooting as seen in the video. And then when you kill it, it drops blaze rods and your Inferno's ember, so make sure you're prepared when you fight this guy. The next mob you have is the Ravager. Actually, it is the Behemoth, the Ravager version, but for piglins. It has the same behavior as a Ravager and will most likely spawn with a piglin brute on top as the rider. This will also drop your ancient gold scraps, which is useful for different craftings. So be careful when you fight this dude. The next mob we have is the Revenant. It's a pretty cool design. It is not a boss, but it is feared as a boss. It will only spawn in soul sand valleys, and when it spots its target, it will fire 3 soul fireballs, and it will give you slowness, so make sure you have pretty good armor. It will also drop your soul essence and bones, which will be used for different items. And it looks pretty cool. The next mob we have are the Crushers. So these guys will spawn in groups in basalt deltas, and they attack by closing its spike shell and rolling towards the target like a meteor. It will block all attacks when its shell is closed, and of course it will get hit when the shell is open. It will drop iron shells, metal shells, and netherite shells, so they're pretty good for farming, but be careful, once you're swarmed by a group of these, it will suck. The next mob we have can be found in warped forests. They are basically the warped beetles, and they're the replacement for endermans. It won't attack unless provoked, it will inflict poison, and it is great for farming glowstone dust and ender pearls, and sometimes it will drop a warped pearl. The last mob for the nether is the Phoenix. This mob won't attack unless provoked, it can be tamed and healed with nether wart. It will also shoot fireballs at its target and will drop blaze powder. And they look like a really cool bird. It's good. So for the first end mob, we have the Ender Moth. This mob will spawn, not currently in the end, but it should spawn in the end. It will only attack unless provoked. You can also feed it coarse fruits. You can also interact with it with glass bottles to fill it with poison, and it will shoot eggs at you with a lingering poison effect, and also launch endermites to attack you. They will also drop ender moth shells, so be careful. Another thing to note for end mobs is that the ender dragon will now drop dragon scales, and that is an important item in this mod. Right, so we're finally in the items part of the video. So the items are divided into 5 classes. We have the staff, the daggers, the totems, the miscellaneous, and the wands. We'll be going through each one with their crafting recipes. So let's move on to the first one, the staffs. So there are 3 staffs. We have the fire staff, the ender breath staff, or supposedly called the shulker staff, and then we have the amethyst staff. So each staff is powered by different things. So for the fire staff, powered by glowstone, your ender breath powered by chorus fruit or the breath of the dragon, and then we have the amethyst staff, which is powered by the amethyst. I can't say amethyst for some reason. Anyways, we have the crafting recipes over here. So your fire staff is crafted with netherite, iron, and 2 sticks, and this item over here is an Inferno's ember, which can be killed by killing Infernos. Next up, we have the ender breath staff. So we have the sticks, your shulker shells, and then you have your nightmare's heart, which is dropped by the nightmare. Next up, we have the amethyst staff, which is just sticks, copper, and an amethyst shard. Once again, the inferno, this item over here, is dropped by the inferno. The nightmare's heart is dropped by the nightmare. And that is it for the staff. So to test out the items, we have the fire staff over here for Mr. Chicken. Oh, there you go. That took a while. That's the fire staff. Now we have cooked chicken. Next up, we have the ender breath staff, which is basically the projectile. And then we have the amethyst staff. There you go, which shoots amethyst shards, which is pretty cool. Next up, we have the daggers. So there are two types of daggers. We have the soul dagger and the venom dagger. The crafting recipes for each over here. So the venom dagger requires venom shards, which are dropped by your spinal serpent. It's just a stick and 2 venom shards. For the soul dagger, it is crafted using soul essence, 2 quartz, and a stick in this format. And I'm guessing soul essence comes from the revenant, although I haven't been able to get it to drop this item. But it is most likely from this because revenant, soul essence, and that's probably from it. Alright, so to test the items, we have the soul dagger over here, which will give slowness as the attack, and it will also give the player a regen and a wither effect. So soul dagger, bam, there you go. That took a while. We have your slowness and the wither on the pig. Next up, we have the venom dagger, which gives poison because, you know, from poison shards. So we hit the pig, and there you go, the pig is poison. And good luck, pig. I wish you luck. Alright, so we're here in the totems, and we also have 3 totems. We have the totem of shielding, totem of levitation, and totem of adaptation. So for the totem of shielding, it gives us fire resistance and resistance. It also gives us a shockwave damage, which will affect the area, which can be used up to 3 times. For your totem of levitation, it gives us levitation, slow falling, health boost 2. For the totem of adaptation, it actually depends on the situation. I'll be showing the picture on screen for each situation that you might be in where you can use the totem. Alright, so that is it. Now we'll head on to the crafting recipes for the totems. So the totem of shielding over here requires magma cream, 2 iron ingots, and then of course your Inferno's ember, which can be killed by killing an Inferno. We have the levitation, which requires your nightmare heart, 2 eye of enders, and your nightmare heart again, and your shulker shell. I said nightmare heart twice. And lastly, we have the adaptation, which requires dragon scale, 2 eye of enders, and a diamond. Dragon scale is dropped by the ender dragon, so good luck getting that. Now let's test out the totems. Alright, so let's try the totem shielding. There you go. We have fire resistance and resistance, and we can also use the shockwave damage, which can be used up to 3 times. For the totem of levitation, it basically gives us, you know, flying up statuses. So press it, you get health boost, levitation, and slow falling. That's it. This is what you get. Lastly, we have the totem of adaptation, which depends on the situation you are in. Right now, it just gave me slow falling for some reason. And yeah, that's basically it for the totems. Next up, we have the miscellaneous. So we have 4 items over here. We have your dark amulet, the boomerang, the elytra, and your ancient gold war axe. So the elytra here is actually just a retexture of the elytra, but it can be crafted this time. We have the boomerang over here, which can be thrown, but it has a 10% chance of popping when returning, and your dark amulet, which is supposed to be traded by your lost witcher, and you can make the projectiles in the beginning of the video. And of course, we have the ancient gold war axe, which drops the XP from mobs, and if you sneak with it, you'll be given resistance and you can share it with other players. Now let's check out the recipes for it. So we have your ancient golden war axe, golden war axe. Yes, I am correct. So it is crafted by getting your ancient gold scraps, which is dropped by the Behemoth, 2 sticks, and a nether quartz. Now, the elytra actually has a crafting recipe. So these things are ender moth shells, which is dropped by your ender moth. And you'll also need some phantom membranes, which is dropped by your nightmares. And then we have the boomerang, which is basically just 2 iron ingots and an ender moth shell, dropped by an ender moth once again. So let's test these items out. So we're mainly going to be testing the boomerang and the ancient golden war axe. So I'm going to shoot the boomerang and it should come back to me, hopefully. Great, that's good. And once again, you have a 10% chance of popping the boomerang, ancient golden war axe, and it should drop the XP of mobs. Interesting. It didn't do that, but it is an item and a weapon nonetheless. Alright, so for the wands, we have 5 wands. We have the wand of evocation and 4 wand of enders, each one doing a different thing. So we'll go on to the crafting recipes first, but a quick note, dragon scales once again are dropped by the ender dragon, and items made by dragon scales float mid-air. I'll be showing this to you after the crafting recipes. So the wand of evocation is crafted with 3 gold ingots, a totem of undying, and a stick. Next up, we have the wand of enders. So there are 4 variants once again. So we'll start with the wand of ender, the shining. So we have dragon scales over here and an ancient golden scrap, which is dropped by your behemoth. Now the crafting recipe just changes on the top area. So for the tainted version, it uses a venom shard, which is dropped by your spinal serpent. For the warp version, it uses a light pearl. And then for the frozen, it uses a charger horn, which is dropped by your frost charger. So the thing about items using dragon scale, it actually floats mid-air. So once you kill the dragon, you won't even know if you got a dragon scale because it is floating mid-air. So you have to kill the ender dragon near land, or else you're gonna have a hard time trying to find the dragon scale. Alright, so the way the wand of enders work, since there are 4 versions, I'm not sure why there are 4 versions, but they are basically teleportation pads. So the way they work is you basically shift and you hold your wand and you're supposed to get this rune over here. Now the way it works is once you place your rune, or actually an altar, it's called an altar in the mod. Let's say you're far away, like really far away, you know, you're exploring and you don't want to go all the way back. All you have to do without shifting this time is just hold, and you should be teleported back to your altar. You have been teleported to the world's shining altar. And this works for all the versions of the Wand of Enders. Now, if you're wondering how to remove the runes or the altars on the ground, you can't actually break them, they will just fall. So as you can see there, they just fall, you can't break them. So the way you break them is you have a Wand of Ender, you just shift, long press, and the altar should teleport to the next area. So don't worry if you want to change the area of the Wand of Enders, and that's basically it for the Wand of Ender. It's pretty cool stuff. Next up, we have the Wand of Evocation. So when used, it will summon a circle of Evocation Fangs and give the player the regeneration and bad omen effects. This will take off 1 durability. When attacking with it, it will summon a Vex to kill the attack mob and take 3 durability and give the bad omen effect. Long press, and we've got our Evocation Fangs over there. I'm not sure if there's a difference with shifting. So try shift. We have a circle. Oh, okay. So there's a difference when you're shifting and when you're not shifting. But that is how the evocation wand works. And now let's teleport back. And that is basically it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And this is basically like expansive fantasy, but in a more magical oriented way. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Comment down below for any add-ons you want me to review. Because, yeah. Why not? And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye. Peace.